everybody. Welcome to the patio. I'm Cindy.
And I'm Jen.
Let's chat.
We're so excited to chat with you. You totally threw me off. We're so excited to chat with you today. This is our first episode, first ever Patio Chats episode.
Nerve-wracking.
I know, first time ever being on a podcast.
Right?
So we just wanted to welcome you. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. We're super excited, although we're not supposed to say super excited, but we are.
We are.
So just to be genuine.
We need an excited jar where we put $1 in every time we say how excited we are. So thank you guys. We know who's listening to us right now is our friends and our family, and thanks for always supporting us in every crazy thing that we decide to do.
I think you should speak for yourself when you talk about crazy things.
I own my crazy, and my friends know that. So we've wanted to do a podcast for a long time, and when we would think about what kind of things we would talk about, we realized that most of our favorite conversations, the best conversations we've had, from serious to funny and just everything, have happened on a patio.
Yeah. And, you learn so much about the person sitting across from you at the table, but also about yourself. And we're at a time in America, I guess around the world actually, where people are doing the introspective and they're looking inside and they're looking across the table. And we wanted to bring what we've learned to all of you.
Yeah, and so we thought that we would just create a virtual patio since we can't leave our houses. For the most part, we can't sit on a patio with you guys. So we're going to try to do that through a podcast. And we thought it'd kind of create more of a laid-back vibe where we can still get deep. And sometimes, you go a lot deeper on a patio because, you might be having coffee at brunch or you might be having margaritas at your favorite Mexican joint. But that's what we really are going for here. So we had started this whole thing at the beginning of the year, and our plan was to travel and do some in-person interviews. Right. So we're kind of flipping the switch here, and you're going to hear a little bit more of us talking. Mm-hmm. And we're going to try to do some Zoom interviews, which might be fun. So we can connect with you guys without leaving our house.
Also, we will be able to actually probably sit on patios in a few weeks, right? Because being outside is good. And so I think that we'll be able to take advantage of that and really sit on some patios and bring you guys a podcast or two from a patio.
Yeah, we can't wait to do that. That's the dream, really.
Right. So tell me about when you first realized this was a dream of yours.
So I remember in 5th grade, my best friend at the time, Gentry, and I had a fake radio show. And this was back with CDs, because I remember we would interview each other and we were the DJs, and we would say, I have a 10-pack of CDs to give out to the next caller. It was so ridiculous. But I always loved that part of it. And then a couple of years ago, I discovered podcasts. I don't even remember how or when or which podcast was my first podcast, but I was working from home. And I couldn't watch TV while I was working. That was too distracting. And so I found something that I could do while I was working, but that made it feel like I had coworkers with me, and not just the dogs to talk to during the day. And then I really found that when I was listening to the podcast, it was like I was friends with the host, as crazy as that sounds. And it felt like I was responding to what they were saying. And through that, I've actually met some of my closest friends through the same podcast that we listened to. So it's not necessarily that I had a dream to always have a podcast, but I just really loved that and thought, well, I can do that. What about you? What kind of podcast do you listen to, or when did you start listening to podcasts?
I started listening to podcasts when I would travel for work, and I would download them and listen to them on the plane. So you're on the plane ride and you really got something to just focus on besides flying, right? So I really enjoyed that, looking out the window and listening to what felt like some of my best friends coming through my headphones, right? And I could relate to that. It was very relatable for me. I found that I also enjoy listening to them on long trips, especially podcasts that have a story, investigative podcasts, etc. They continue on. So I just really enjoy them, and I think that that's where my love comes from. A lot of people don't know this about me too, that about gosh, it's probably over 20 years ago or so, I decided I wanted to be a radio DJ.
I didn't know that.
Right? Yeah. So a lot of people don't know that about me.
Awesome.
So I decided I want to be a radio DJ. So the passion for this type of podcasting or radio has always been with me. But I tried out at a school in St. Louis. My sister was there. They take you back. It's kind of like I don't know, a cold call or a herd call. I don't even know what you call them because I didn't go into radio, guys.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. But they take you back, and then they just pop something in front of you that you're supposed to report on as a radio person.
So cool.
And my, I have a easily excitable voice. I'm super, smiling, happy just in real life. So they pop in front of me that there was a train crash and 20 people were killed. And if I try to read that with this excitable voice, I completely bombed.
Wait, do it now. Tell us 20 people have died.
Not going to do it now. So I completely bombed. I realized that maybe that wasn't the direction I should go and went a different direction.
Man, but here we are today, both living dreams that we had 20 years ago and didn't even realize it. That's so funny. And that brings me back to high school. You know those modeling things that come to your town and you're supposed to go to the mall and model? We had one of those, and at that modeling campaign, I got too nervous to walk the stage, but they also had an advertisement for a commercial. And so I went with my mom to this hotel, and it was like super kind of shady, it seemed like. So my mom came with me, and I actually read for a Burger King commercial. Can you imagine me on a commercial? There's no way I would ever do it. But that same thing. So we both kind of had that entertainment dream in our background. I mean, I started college for journalism, for print, not broadcast. But that was just always something I loved. I love interviewing people more than being interviewed.
Sure.
But so I think this is the perfect environment for both of us. We can just talk and learn things about each other that we never even knew.
Yeah, I think overall too, I enjoy the act of sitting on a patio and having a cold drink and hanging out with my friends,
yes.
family. A patio can mean different things to different people. And, for me, it's been down near the Cadron Creek or on the edge of an ocean at a beach or at the kitchen table at my Aunt Vicky's, right? And so I think that a patio can mean many different things to many people.
Yeah, so it's just a place where you identify with good conversation, and that's what we really want to bring to you. And then we've met so many people on patios, strangers, and just have had amazing conversations, especially here in Florida, in Little Rock as well. And it's funny when I look back, if I think, what's my favorite patio experience, it's so different. I've had so many different conversations with different people, and they're coming to mind right now, different friends. So do you have some memorable patio experiences?
Sure. Gosh. So many memorable patio experiences. One that just pops into my head right now is of course the margarita experiences, right? and I won't name any names, but you know who you are. But it seems like when you mix the margarita with a patio, things get a little more interesting.
You learn a lot, for sure.
But yeah, and on top of that, I really love Mexican food. So yeah, I think some of my best patio experiences have been on patios at Mexican restaurants.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, and here the Mexican restaurant patios are a little different, but in Little Rock, it's in a parking lot usually. So you kind of are watching cars come up, and you can watch all of the interesting characters that come to your table. And I wonder if Alyssa remembers the last time we were sitting at El Porton on the patio, the crazy guy that came in, and we had so much fun that night just watching that interaction that we weren't even a part of. That became a whole new conversation, and now those are memories that we can still talk about. Back when Cajun's Wharf, we went there together. I used to go with my boss, Alicia, who I know probably will never listen to this. She's not a big technology person, but we would go after work sometimes once a week, and we had the absolute best time. And it was just a great time to unwind, talk about our day. I learned so much from Alicia just on the patio, and it's just kind of a fun, stress-free environment. So,
yeah. And on that note, we want to invite all of you to join us on the patio. We want to learn about you, and we want to share your experiences, because we all have these unique experiences that I've known Jen for what, Jen?
Gosh.
14 years now?
Yeah.
So 14 years, she didn't know my radio story. And actually, it was probably more than 20 years ago. I'm getting older, and I totally run time together at this point, but she didn't even know my radio story. So we all have those stories that are fun and interesting, and we want to learn about yours. We want you to be on this show with us.
Yeah, we want to know what you guys want to talk about. Are there topics you want us to discuss? Do you want to discuss them with us? We would love to have you guys as guests on the podcast.
Yes.
I know I've talked to so many people, and we haven't been on a reality show. We don't have this mega platform, and so it kind of feels like you're never going to have that opportunity to be interviewed. But how many times have you been listening to a podcast and you've heard them talking about something and you think, oh my gosh, I have a story that goes with that, or I have an answer to give to that question. And so we want to give you that opportunity. So even though we're a small platform, we still want to have that interaction with you guys and give you guys a voice to share.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, and so that's really the reason why I'm super excited about this, because I've had the opportunity in my life to hear a lot of fun stories and share a lot of experiences, and I want to give others the opportunity to hear about those and engage in those as well.
Yeah, and just talking brings back memories. Just in this conversation, I've had some memories that I completely forgot about. So, and this probably will age me a little bit as well, but when I think about interviews too, I think about the good old days with Jay Leno. I was obsessed with Jay Leno when I was younger. Probably, I don't know, maybe 7th grade, and I would lay in my bed, and I had a little TV in my room, and I would just watch every night the interviews. And I remember thinking I always wanted to learn more. So it was such a short interview, and we didn't really back then have internet to Google people. But even now, you can find out small tidbits about people, but when you get them on a podcast, just like on a patio, you can really learn a lot about them. So that's what I'm excited about. I want to learn more, and we keep saying excited, so we have a couple dollars in that jar.
Goodness, yes.
But I want to learn more about people I've known forever, and then I want to meet new people and hear your stories as well. So we've created an Instagram for you guys to follow. Please do us a favor and follow us. It's at Patio Chats. And we're going to have some interaction there where you can leave us comments. You can have suggestions for future episodes. Let us know if you want to be on the episode. Slide into our DMs, like the cool kids say. And we've also created something where I'll put a link there in Instagram where you can leave us a voice message and then be on the podcast. So we would love for you guys to ask us questions, and then we can answer them on a future podcast.
Yeah, definitely. It's super exciting, and I just keep thinking about, and I said exciting again and again.
Dollar.
My goodness. I just keep thinking about all the things that I've talked about on patios and the things that I've learned. And recently we did a Zoom with several of our friends that we do weekly. But one thing that I learned on that Zoom was a piece of advice that I think could have been said on a patio and probably would have been. But it was from Elaine, and it says, never break up with someone in a foreign country in which you have to share transportation home. So I just want to leave you guys
Solid
with that.
advice.
That's the type of stuff we're looking for here. Let's talk through that.
Yeah, so thank you again for joining us. Like we said, you can follow us on Instagram at Patio Chats. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Yeah, give us a subscribe or a like and a rate. That's awesome.
Yeah, as they say.
As the cool kids say. I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to say, Jen.
I don't even know. Rate, review, subscribe, right? We look forward to chatting with you next week on our virtual patio.
And we'll buy the first round.